everything in life has a purpose.
Read a book, you look outside the window, let time go by.
What are we teaching to our children in terms of taking those decisions? I think that's the most important thing.
So that's a solution that we found for us. But there are many others who probably don't have that.
But I think somewhere we have to make that initiative.
The idea is just to curate these conversations. First, people just talk about what we do for the environment. We can just start on with this. We can tag each one of us, like, okay, you talk about what have you done, what is your bit, and what is your cause, and what do you expect from governments, expect from United Nations, expect from corporates to do around it. So that's how it is. It's not going to be any formal conversation. It's not a TED talk. I'm not going to stand here and speak. It's not a seminar. It's not a workshop.
My name is Rohit. So I basically run a small company, and as part of that company, there's a brand which it's called PERP. It's actually a short form for purpose. That everything in life has a purpose. We make accessories, which is, they're like these tote bags. These are laptop sleeves, and so they contribute to saving the environment. And how they do it, because these are made by repurposing the flex, the hoardings. Once they're taken off, rather than heading for a landfill, we procure them, we clean them, they are hand cut, and then they are different accessories are created out of it. And I must share one thing, that Shiv Nadar Foundation has been a very big supporter of us. So this is the bag which we are giving to them, and actually they run a adult literacy program called Shiksha. So as part of that program, they were giving jute bags, and that with some like a slate and some books along with it. So they were very keen to they liked the idea, and so now we are supplying this regularly to them. So that's my bit of doing something around it. And I hope that there are enough people. It takes time for people to understand and then kind of change to what they are using. But I'm happy that that the change is happening slowly but surely. There's something which I picked up from I attended one more another forum like this in the past, and from there I picked up one idea which we try and do as often as possible. Is when you're using the RO system in the kitchen, there's almost half the water is wasted. So we collect that water. So we have kept like a container, and as soon as it's about to get filled, then that container is used to maybe water the plants around, or it's used for mopping. So that's the other thing. It's a very small thing.
So I work for a organization called as CauseBecause, which is a John Hopkins affiliate. It's an international NGO, and so I'm working in their maternal and child health program. Along with that, I'm also a public health advisor for Hamjoli Foundation, which is a foundation which is working very affectionately and closely for sustainable menstruation for young girls and for women. Because I will not go into the stats. There are so many stats available online, but that's just to give you a broad picture. The first woman who used pad for her menstruation, that pad is still here, like somewhere, either in a landfill or somewhere buried, or it's not gone away. So that's how, what is that? That's the importance of sustainable menstruation in today's time. So it's earlier, because India is moving towards becoming developed. So earlier we were trying to fight for getting accessible menstruation products for every girl out there in the rural areas or in the urban areas. But now we have changed our strategy. Along with that, we need to inculcate the concept of sustainable menstruation. So it's not only getting them access to the products, but access to sustainable products. So for that, we keep doing a lot of these sessions we do with young girls in schools, in rural communities. You said that we walk out 2 kilometers from here, we have a slum. So Hamjoli works very closely in Delhi, in Bangalore, and in Bombay, Delhi, Noida. So I look after the Delhi, Noida operations with them. And so we've been doing multiple sessions in Raipur, Chhatarpur, and we've gone and we've distributed. So obviously a lot of CSR funding comes in, and so that's how we're able to sustain these operations. And we have packages like a company can fund a girl's 6-month period supply. A company can fund, one person can fund like a 3-month period supply for somebody. So in that, we have these sustainable menstruation products where we have a book that our founder has created. It's both in English and in Hindi. And if ma'am, would you agree, I would like to keep that in the library for our young boys and girls to just let them know what actually it's all about. So it's like a very, very nice, I'm sorry I could not get the book today, but it's wonderful way through pictures to know about what's happening. And so we have all of these kind of products, but yes, very happy to be part of this conversation.
This university in Dehradun has gone totally pad free. Okay, and I had received the press release, and it's there on CauseBecause. It's like our way of just spreading, letting people know that something like this is an option and we can do it. The initial hesitation will be there because maybe because we are ignorant about it, or we don't know how convenient it will be. But when we hear her talking, or hear of a university that is entirely pad free, it puts that thought in your mind, right? So this is another reason why we are meeting up today and talking, because I'm sure when people hear you talk about this, you're bound to have a second, third thought.
You have to, and we should, because at least I'm hoping that by this conversation, some of us will go back home and will at least think about it and maybe try the next time.
And we should feel guilty about it.
We should try next time and maybe convince women in our home or menstruators around us to at least try. It's I think more of a mental block for the urban educated women rather than the financial implications for it. I know it's a little difficult, but it's we're doing so many things for the environment. We're conserving water from the AC. We are trying to refurbish and upscale those boards. We're doing so much. I know just this one extra effort so that our sanitary landfills are a little reduced.
The small steps that we take in our daily lives, I think that's what is going to make the actual difference. So whether it is taking a bath with the AC water, or drinking it, or like you said, using those sanitary napkins. But I think it just starts from our everyday life. All of us are coming to school or going to the workplace, maybe using carpools. I don't know how it is with everyone's workplace, but carpools, public transport may be very overcrowded. But I think somewhere we have to make that initiative, and thanks to all you parents, we've started with the carpool at the beginning of this year, and it's just a little request if you could encourage everyone within your group to either use carpool or even better the school transport, because if we go back to our school days, I think most of our lovely school memories are from the school bus, the journey to and back from school. So I think if we are not allowing our children to build these kind of memories, whether it is, whatever mode of transport, I think we are doing a disservice to them as well. So it's not just about the environment, it's also about how we are sensitizing our children. Absolutely. I think for us what is important is it's not just about the memories that the students build. There is so much of relationship and rapport building that happens among educators and students also, and so many things that we can't do in the classroom. It gives us the opportunity to have those conversations, or have those discussions in the bus itself. So yeah, I mean these are just small efforts which probably will make the planet better for the generations to come. So this is just a start. We can only hope for them.
I'm founder of lowlife.com. I'm an entrepreneur. We make ergonomic and productive workspaces. We're basically solving the sedentary lifestyle that right now most of our work is on a screen, sitting for 8 to 10 hours a day, which leads to a lot of metabolic diseases, which then later turns to musculoskeletal diseases like backache, neck aches, diabetes, obesity are all an offshoot of the way we are working today. So we're trying to solve that. And how we're trying to solve that is we're bringing a lot of technology into the workspace. So we're trying to see that what your posture is while you're working, how much time you're sitting down and standing up. We're making chairs which will have sensors in it, which will ping you if your posture is going wrong. So we're trying to look at that from a very data point of view and give you the best ways to work. I call it the work mother. So like in school when we were in grade 10 and 12, my mom used to be the one curating the work environment, the study environment. So she will come and say, you know what, okay, get up now, it's been 2 hours, you've been sitting down, why don't you go for a walk? She will also keep a very keen eye on our posture and be like, hey, you're slagging or you're slouching, it will hurt, you will pain. So it's like the intelligence is like a mother. So that's what we are building, right? That's what we are trying to solve. And I think in the future, it will, and a lot of schools, it starts from the schools as well, right? Because ergonomics or posture or better ways to work should be incorporated in the DNA of a child when they're just growing up, like sustainability. I think sustainability is a value. So for example, if I'm making a choice between a plastic bottle or if I want to buy something, a beverage, where I'm getting in a plastic bottle or in a glass bottle, my subconscious should not even think about taking the glass. Secondly, if we have to travel for like a kilometer or so, subconsciously, the decision should be made subconsciously that I'm not even thinking of actually getting an Uber or getting a car. I should be walking. So these, I think, sustainability should be ingrained as a subconscious for us right now, because we were not on that path right now, consciously changing our mind, so that we can make those decisions subconsciously. That's exactly what we're doing, right? So now coming back to my company and what we're doing. So our products that we make are huge, right? So the packing is one of the biggest things that I've seen in the industry is, so let's say for example, you buy a TV. A 50-inch TV will come in a big cardboard box, but inside the box, there's either styrofoam or there's EPE, which is so much of plastic in it, right? And my product, so one of the desks that we have is Smart Desk, which is a 5-footer. So as an organization, we consciously took a decision that we will not have any plastic in our package. Now, it's easier said than done, is because my breakage rate was like 7% and my team was like, sir, what are you doing? Why are you not introducing plastic into the packing? Because we're facing a lot of breakage rate into shipping. I'm like, no chance. I mean, you find me a solution to not to use the plastic, fine, okay, it's breaking, right? We have a problem in our hand that is breaking. But I want the problem to be solved not by plastic, not by styrofoam, not by EPE, but by something paper and recyclable. So that's what we do. As a policy also internally, what I've done in the organization is that anybody who's traveling for more than 30 minutes to come to the organization is work from home permanently. You don't need to come, it's inefficient. Even if you're taking your car. All right, please. If they're using a car or a metro or whatever it is, there is no point, it's inefficient. Anywhere where the inefficiency is exactly where it is unsustainable. So we've completely got out of plastic. And every decision that we take as an organization, whatever it may be, it is around environment, it is about efficiency. I think sustainability, I call it efficiency. To be efficient is to be sustainable. But coming back to the more important thing is about the children and sustainability as a value. Now, what is the school teaching? What are we teaching to our children in terms of taking those decisions? I think that's the most important thing. And coming back to the same point, sustainability and being environmental friendly has become part of the story of a brand.
Yes.
Most of the brands right now just based on this one value.
I was in Bangalore about 9-10 years back, and believe me, I regret every single day why did I come to North. Believe me. But Bangalore isn't good either. I was part of a group where, I don't know if you've heard of this, similar issue what happens at Kalandi, that foaming of the water, used to happen in this place called Varthur in Bangalore, Bellandur Lake, right? The problem was there was an NGO who got together chasing the government to get it cleaned. but we figured that the motive of NGO was completely different. So there's a group of journalist friends, and we got together to get to a state where the government put in the machinery to clean that. But that was just one-off, right? What do you do about Kalandi? I visited there with a few friends a few times. I went with a friend who had cremated his father, and they had to, those ashes had to be. So that you go there, it's dirty, it's messy, it's stinky. And then I thought that it's the same river which these farmers are using, or these farms are using for the vegetables. So the sad part is, what do you rely on? At this point, you don't know what to rely on. And my purpose to come to this is to try and understand what to do, because I mean, we as individuals, we do, like, I'm a part of a 40 member family. I'm a group where every Thursday we make food at our house and we give to the needy people. So imagine 40 families making food in the house and we're doing it. But that's very small. That's for the needy. But in terms of the environment, where do you go? As a family, have started growing at least the seasonal vegetables at our home. We know so that's a solution that we found for us. But there are many others who probably don't have that. They probably stay in an apartment where they can't grow. What do they do? Yeah, how much can you grow?
So I'll just tell my personal story. I come from a family where I was told, let the geyser be on 24/7. Let the fan remain on when we enter the room, it's going to be needed. It's going to be a hot room otherwise. Leave the lights on when we reach back, we need it. And I grew up finding nothing wrong with that. And maybe it wasn't at some level in those days, 40 years back, it didn't matter. But it changed automatically when I grew up with my own awareness through conversations, through life. And now today, and thankfully, thank the school for this, my child is the electricity manager and she's the one who switches off all the lights when we are moving out of the room or whatever, everything. They're all aware. Yeah, that's just like a very given thing, at least that's out of the window. I face problems in this finding places where you can recycle, especially e-waste. Like you said, we segregate and then they put it all back into all together. You segregate the sanitary waste, they put it back in all together. E-waste, batteries. Ever since I've had a child, the number of battery-operated toys and the heaps and heaps of battery, I switched to rechargeable batteries. Even then, you have so many batteries. Now, I was a flight attendant for 20 years before Corona. And abroad, these things are just simply tackled so easily. Every single grocery or a supermarket has a e-waste bin. You put your batteries there. You can take everything back. H&M has started here, I think Marks & Spencer, you can take back your old clothes, any clothes. You don't have to wait and you actually get paid for this stuff. I used to buy some groceries abroad because I was just a flight attendant. I just had time there. You take back the packaging, you take back the bottles. Oh, you get paid heavily. The refund amount is almost half of the product is just refund amount. I don't know where we lag. Why we just, like you said, a glass bottle sells for 50 paisa or 1 rupee now because 50 paisa doesn't exist. I'm collecting bottles and bottles, but what do I do with them? What's the next step? Another thing is a doable, and it's a tall ask, but if at least this room full of people can just give this a thought. 1 month before COVID hit, I'm sitting with my friends and I'm saying, we are flying too much. We are all just traveling for pleasure, for work, business. And they're like, oh, this very rich coming from a flight attendant, you're always on a plane. I said, yes, exactly. And I'm talking to so many people, and every day, every flight, and I just wonder that, can you not do this from home? Is there no way in this digital world that you can do this from home? And bang, COVID happened, and yes, we can. You don't need to travel abroad every year for your annual vacation. Take the trains. The Indian trains are amazing, and the time that you get, the quality time that you get with your family, how much will you be on your phone on the train? You'll read a book, you'll look outside the window, let time go by. let that be a part of your annual vacation. At least take one train journey in the year and just try to cut down one flight, work flight, pleasure flight, something, it's reducing your carbon footprint. It's a huge thing.
8 months back, 8-9 months back, our average bill used to be about 20,000, which was quite a big amount. And then by making a very small adjustment is that every time you're not using the switch off everything, switch off the AC, it's not in use. If the kids are in the other room, we're in the other room, then we'll tell the kids back to come in our room and we can switch off the other AC. We've brought it down from 20,000 to an average of 7,000 a year, which is a brilliant, without doing anything, literally you have 13,000 more to, spend on other things.
You are at work 24/7, your client wants everything as of yesterday, and your firm is in the heart of the city and you have to be visible. So, driving, being on the road for an hour plus on an average, I was sick of looking at the red on the Google map. My time would be like before office hours or after office hours, so my day stretched into 10-12 hours. And I used to always say this, we can work from anywhere. We work on flights, we work on airports, why can't we bloody work from our home? And I used to say, world should change. Break 4 is to 3 at least a work week and not go nuts. What? Now, no, that's what I'm coming to. I connected to people globally. I executed projects globally on virtual calls and everything. But now when the world has opened, yesterday, I won't go into a long rant, I had been chasing this client for some time. It's an MNC from Germany and I target European companies because they're very progressive and, about sustainability. But, as we are, this guy, email correspondence happens for a while. Like, okay, what would you make a proposal? I was like, it depends on what you want. You want an assessment, you want a report, you want a complete action plan. Let me give you a demo of my technology, whatever they said. And then it went into a limbo. I knew the CFO, he was my school buddy. He called me over to have lunch with him so that I could meet that same guy I was talking on the email. I drove for 2 hours in the morning in the rain to get to Manesar for that lousy meeting, and then drove back in the evening. It took away whole of I cribbed and I cursed and I did everything. They just want you to come and have chai pakoda. This mindset needs to change. Why are we not adapting to technology and solutions, and why you just want to make someone's life miserable for just seeing them in your office?
So, we are moving to Noida in the next few weeks, and you're an aspiring parent, so to let you know how the school environment operates, you would not do it in another school, but हमारी चिंता ये थी कि यहाँ जिससे बात करते हैं, not just this, even down till sector 37, we have family there, sector 62, सब ये बोलते हैं कि यहाँ AC 2-3 साल से ज़्यादा नहीं चलता, and every year कई बार एक साल में एक बार से ज़्यादा उसमें गैस भरनी पड़ती है. And we are right now in east of Kailash. Our last set of ACs lasted about 15 years. A typical AC would have a gas requirement once in 5 years probably on an average, right? And then पानी जिसके घर जाते हैं वो काले faucets and all. So I've been very worried about that. So I reached out to the school कि हम इस शहर में आ रहे हैं, यहाँ की तो हवा और पानी में problem है. And I got invited for a coffee, right? So I was here a few days ago with Miss Malhotra. I was having green tea in ceramic cups with her. And this was the problem at that time. At that time, this whole plan was not in place. So she told me कि हम कुछ करेंगे, but a very open invitation to do stuff. And what I did have in mind was, so I did my research. I spoke to people in the city. I looked up online. There are a few reports that you find which anecdotally say what you said कि वहाँ open drains हैं तो कुछ problem है. अब वो किसी ने यहाँ बोला था अमोनिया है कि पर ड्रेन्स में तो सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड होती है. हमने शायद क्लास 8 में पढ़ा था. मोस्ट ऑफ अस हैव फॉरगॉटन, बट दिस इज़ मिडिल स्कूल केमिस्ट्री के हवा में क्या चीज़ें हैं और क्या ख़राब है और पानी में क्या चीज़ें हैं क्या ख़राब है. सो इट शुड नॉट बी a very huge piece of science, right? You can get a bottle of water, you can collect 10 samples, get it tested, पता चल जाएगा कि क्या चीज़ है जो नल को ख़राब कर रही है और वही हम पी रहे हैं, उससे नहा रहे हैं कम से कम, और ये पता चल जाएगा कि वो हवा में क्या है जो हम ब्रीथ कर रहे हैं, राइट? So why I had landed up here was, while it's fairly simple to identify a laboratory which would do it for you, but if the school is involved, if अगर उसी शहर के बच्चे उसको पढ़ रहे हों, एक यहाँ पर लैब हो जो उसको स्टडी कर रही हो, फिर उसको ट्रैक करे, उसको शहर में अलग अलग जाके देखे, then I mean probably you being a journalist can guide us more, but the assumption was that there will be far more traction, that and then it can expand from this school to other schools also. So let the children understand what the city is about, how it is meant to grow. Let's go and talk to the Noida authority once and figure out, you know, what's happening, what do they think of this. But हमको भी यहाँ कम से कम 10 साल तो रहना है जब तक हम 12वीं पास नहीं कर लेंगे. So there's a lot that's going to happen in 10 years, right? And as you said, every October the gas chamber situation will erupt. So that's where I had come from. So I had posted the message also, and I felt that if it's a partnership of parents who are living in various sectors and students who start studying these things, so outside a like-minded group partnership, the two islands that I see that are important, one is the government, and right now the good part is that the Noida authority is fairly proactive. You know, the toilets you speak about, the cleanliness, the parks that are coming up, I feel hope that there'll be some reception there. The other partnership probably we need is on the science side, which instead of looking out, we could look inwards in our science labs and our children. So this farming thing, even I've been studying a lot. There was a time, so for about 5,000 to 8,000 rupees, you can have a farmlet, right? Where you can go and do stuff. I wanted to do that, and I backed off because of the water problem. Everybody I know in the world in this sector told me, आप 10 फुट नीचे खुद के देखो, पानी जो निकलेगा, if you test it, it's going to be completely loaded with heavy metals and very toxic stuff, so the vegetables are not okay. Now, scientific evidence has been done the world over. All you need to do is you need to insert a high density, it's going to be plastic, but that's not like a single-use plastic. You separate the soil from the water below it, and then let other water come in, and there can be ways to deal with it. But then, hey, I think that's where I felt the kids need to have a role. So that's how I was here. My name is Anshu Sharma, and I'm moving from Delhi to Noida.
Like this interaction, I didn't even know it was for the entire school and the parents. But look at us, how many of us are here. And we may, you know, it resonate with us on hydroponics or environment or something like this, you know, science-based finding, and take it to the authority. When we will count for 4 people to just make a committee, I doubt there'll be very many volunteers.
I feel, partnership, among the parents has to develop a lot. There might be parents in the same apartment society, and all the 3 members, coming and talking to the kids. That might be happening. So that is the whole reason, I have come here. And these environmental issues are, at many levels, at global level, country level and state level, city level, and nodal level, So rather than focusing too much at global level, whatever we could do, whatever we are discussing, maybe, just, making a point, trying to reduce the water consumption. For example, now it is July. From next, in the next 6 months, we will reduce our water consumption by maybe 5%. It has to be individual goals, or not at our household levels, or at our apartment societies, or any of the RWAs. So I think, these are doable things. When we do certain things, when we succeed, that will give, motivation for us to, aspire and do larger things. I'm not doing much on the environment front. So, but as an individual, I do send my students to about 40. Now currently, my about close to 100 students are in working with 40 non-profit organizations throughout the country, many parts of the country. I work at Shiv Nadar University. I teach marketing.
I am Bhumika, and my daughter is in nursery, Parental. I do not have any interested causes or NGOs that I am running or a part of, but I really wanted to be a part of this group. And since
just the start.
So since I joined Shiv Nadar as a parent, I have seen that there are a lot of groups, not just this one. There are a lot of ones, and I am really interested in seeing what it's all about and getting to know the people, so that you come to know how like-minded you are to send your child to this place. That is what prompted me. As a profession, I work for a biotechnology firm. We supply instruments and consumables to major hospitals and research centers across India. At home, I try to do my bit, like some of you mentioned, that's what we do, try to segregate the waste, but our society does not have something that you have. It has a big chute and everything then goes into that chute. So everything is then mixed up anyways. I try not to litter around whenever we are out as well. I try to inculcate that into my daughter as well, so that when she grows up, she is also a more conscious citizen and does not spread waste around like people do. Sometimes she even goes and picks up others' waste and throws in the dustbin. So I find that really good.
What is it that as this group, as the community that we say is like-minded and would like to do something now, is what are we taking that one thing as a group and would like to implement, whatever that thing is. Of course, paper cup, of course, as a communication, what we thought, and I kind of shared it with Chupra, every communication that will go out from the school from Monday will have a little line saying that please carry your cup and a bottle if you wish to. So that's something that we would do it. But what next from you as a group? If you want student council to be part of it, maybe they could be part of your conversations, but someone needs to have this conversation in school. So as a group, you have to tell us what next, and then we would probably have student council part of this group and start implementing the small things. Of course, the little one also needs to know as to what do they need to do. So that takeaway is very, very important. Before we leave this room, I thought I'll kind of bring that in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.